And so I am Trisha Ben. I am the CEO of C-Suite Network, and I always feel incredibly honored and blessed when I get to be here with the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council with none other than our chair, Kathleen Caldwell. Now, everyone else in the C-Suite Network that leads and supports across all of the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council content and our time together, I'm also just incredibly grateful. Grateful, blessed, honored. I don't know. There's lots of great words that just overflow the cup when you talk about what we do here with Kathleen's leadership. So, of course, she's the CEO of Caldwell Consulting Group and the founder of the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council of C-Suite Network and the Women's Success Accelerator. She is an incredible mentor to many of us, and of course, is all about impact and how we can deliver impact most effectively with also having those sustainable income opportunities and models, and of course, our thought leadership, our IP. Kathleen's Caldwell's are female executives and business owners who aspire to scale up their careers and businesses. And isn't that all of us here? As we're coaching and consulting and leading others, we also need to be fueling ourselves and learning and growing and building. And this environment is just incredible to be able to do that. So, Kathleen, without further ado, I am going to hand things over to you.
Trisha, Ben, thank you. Thank you. Hey, sisters, brothers, let's do a little sparkle. And thank you to you, Trisha, for being here and that fine introduction. Trisha, I am noting that on June the 8th, we have known each other for 11 years. Amazing. And it seems like it, for how many of you, when you meet people that you're soul brothers and soul sisters with, you just know that they're your team, they're on your team. And from the moment that I met you, Trisha, I was like, wow, this is someone I want to get to know. This is someone I want to spend time with. I want to learn from. And so here we are. Isn't that amazing?
Thank you so much, Kathleen. I can't believe it's been 11 years.
Yes,
Where
yes,
did
yes.
It's
I can't
incredible.
count many, I don't want to count how many days because
Yeah,
ladies, if you
too
count
much.
the days, that's like, ooh, that's not, I don't know about that. But that is also related to our topic today. And our topic is so important about how we can see more opportunities and how we can look around to our current clients, our past clients, our future clients, and see what's possible. And so I'm going to share with you about we're going to get the conversation going. And this is not a how-to workshop, but it's more of a mindset shift along with some key strategies that you can take away today to make a difference in your business. So with that, and feel free. I would love for you to put some appreciation and loving up of Trisha Ben in the chat. Please do that, okay? Let's give some loving up to her and appreciation. And Trisha, thank you because you helped me early on. I saw you make that transition from a major C-level executive to then stepping into being CEO, the transformation that happened in you, your confidence, your understanding and your ownership of what it takes to succeed as in the C-suite fully with all of the business responsibilities, the good and the bad, of course, in running a business. And that is really today's topic. And Trisha, do you want to say anything about that before we get started? Because you've gone through transformation in 11 years, plus, plus, plus.
Yes, it's interesting. I think there are things where my mom always said, and my mom was obviously one of my incredible mentors. She's still a global leader in her space. And she always said, listen, take the leap. It's just like going from kindergarten to grade one. It would be way too overwhelming to go to grade one when you're in, if you missed kindergarten, right? So it's just like that. So I think there's some of the learning that's just that simple next step. You're ready. And then there's there's the change that just absolutely smacks you in the head and probably every other body part you have and catapults you forward into a next stage. And so it's interesting how that dynamic works over time. And I've been mindful to that lately. I was saying we were in the Hero Club talking about different challenges and how we might want to use AI. And I was focused on my schedule, the calendar, right? This is the age old, no matter where you are in your career stages, etc. It is the bane of one's existence, is what I've come to. And what I used to think of as an outrageously busy schedule, I would consider a walk on in the park today. And the challenges are so interesting, and how to deliver differently and use different tools and so on. So it's just a little micro, window into changes and things that you have to deal with at all stages, but they do become different as you're working through and taking on new roles and responsibilities. So anyway, so I'm very mindful of that. Kathleen, right now is those
Yeah.
small changes, big transformational changes, and then the tool sets that you have to bring along
Yes.
with you,
Yeah.
along the way. And then sometimes they stop working, and then you've got to figure them out again. So,
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. How many of you can
mhm.
relate to that? It's a time of big transformation for all of us. And
Mhm.
I want to share in a moment some statistics and some data that's going to be very important for you in this next transition. So thank you. That's really great because here we are, sisters, brothers, we've got this great privilege to be in the room, to be holding space and to be connected to Trisha Ben and so many other CEOs of companies that are really high growth. And so this topic today is perfect for us. And so thank you for that lovely introduction, Trisha. I appreciate that. And I have experienced so much growth. My goodness, in the last 11 plus years, the last year, the last, for all of us, right? And I want to share with you because I think this is really important for us in our conversation today. I started off in tech and I was part of three companies that went public. So I was a key employee in these three companies. So I had the mindset of being a key contributor, a service person. I was in sales and marketing and I had a role. My role was to bring in the money, bring in the clients, and I certainly did that. Then moving to being a coach, leaving corporate, being a coach consultant. Then my identity changed. I was valued for the service that I brought, but it was a little bit different. Now moving into being the CEO of my company is a whole different game. And being able to relate to my clients in a different way. So that identity shift, I'm right along with all of you, is the identity shift is called for. And so that is part of our topic today. But before we jump in, I must get to pause for a moment to welcome our newest. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fun webinar conversation, right? Hope you're having a good time here. We want to welcome our newest esteemed faculty partner, Kate Rosenberg. We are so excited for you. Oh my gosh. Kate is an incredible founder, CEO, coach consultant for Shattered Glass Coaching. And Kate, we'd love to have you say hi, introduce yourself, welcome, and friends, take yourself off mute. Let's give Kate a round of applause, thanking her for being here and being our newest esteemed faculty. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. I think last week was my first official week in the council, but I'm excited to be a newer member. I am CEO of Shattered Glass Coaching. I founded my business about 6 years ago, so I'm still fairly new to this space. And I knew when I met Kathleen and I got involved with Thought Council and I met Trisha and Sheila that this was a council I wanted to join. I'm excited to get to know everyone here better and to learn from you all because I'm fairly new in this world and I'm just excited about the opportunities and the potential there. So thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And Kate is being a little shy. She is a very, very experienced career coach. My gosh, helping women executives make the transition to get the job, the career, the next step that's really the best fit, the right fit, and the most prestigious expression of themselves, and to make more money and to be more strategic. So, Kate, congratulations. And we're so excited. You're going to have an interactive gathering. We're featuring you upcoming in our program. So, we're very excited about that. Thank you. And you also said you have a new book coming out, don't you?
I do. I have a book coming out in May, so I'll be
Excellent.
sharing more information about that shortly. I'm really excited. And yeah, I think that the roundtable that I do will be tied to the book and the theme
Great.
of the book. So more on that to come.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you. Thank you. So grateful that you're here. Good. And you are at the right place at the right time with the right people. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. Okay, great. So before we officially get into the strategies and tactics, hey, we must do another very quick shout out to our sister, Deb Creer. Deb Creer couldn't be here today. She's on a podcast. She's a podcast interviewee today for a very, very big opportunity. As esteemed faculty partners, she's also getting so many more opportunities to express her new research project. So if you go to, and this is a big shout out for all of you and everyone watching our replay, if you go to yourcancercoach.live or live, as many say, check out her research study. You can find it there. And if you are on social, of course, on LinkedIn or Facebook, we'd love a repost for her. And we've got it all posted in our C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council group. Love a repost. This study is land breaking. And it is so important because how do business CEOs and executives continue with business continuity during a diagnosis, a medical diagnosis? It's happening more and more and more. So Deb is doing studies on this. So we're excited for her. Okay, so let's jump into what is the golden egg. This is the golden egg opportunity, ladies, right here. This is an opportunity for us to shift from being a traditional coach consultant. And I don't know if you checked today on LinkedIn, but let me share with you, as of today, there are over 4.7 million coaches on LinkedIn. People on LinkedIn that have the title coach, business coach, 4.7 million. And I'm going to show some statistics later on. But when I first started tracking this, there were literally 1.1 million about 5 years ago. So here we are now at 4.7. There are over 22 million people on LinkedIn that have the title consultant. Okay. And that was literally about 4 million 5 years ago. So there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of opportunity. And if we keep doing the same thing as a coach consultant, then we're going to be in that whole mix. So I'm going to share with you today some ideas. We're going to get the conversation going about how we can differentiate ourselves, and then how can we see new opportunities that are all right here for us in clear view. Okay. So, traditional coaches, sell sessions. We're taught in coach school, sell sessions, sell packages, sell your time, do a month-to-month kind of thing, 90 days for this and all that type of thing. Well, guess what? The majority of coaches, and we love them and bless them, we want them to come into our council. That's the model that the coaching schools teach. Okay. I went to school in 1998, a very long time ago, when Coach U first started. That was the model. However, that model is not working. It is not working anymore because you become part of what everybody else is doing. And so, in C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, we're not about what everybody else is doing. We're out being the category of one, doing only what we can do and the way we can do it, providing value that no one else can provide. Okay. So we're shifting to, we have to solve expensive problems. You know this. We need to facilitate high stake conversations. We have to have the education, the training, the guts, the confidence, the executive presence to do these things. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But you want to be the person who's brought into the room when there are critical things that are happening in a company or with an individual, and moving to become the trusted advisor, not just a coach, not just a consultant, not just a trainer, not just a presenter, fill in the blanks. Okay. So this is the reality now. And when you shift this along with having the right offers, having the right affiliation, like C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council, affiliation and association like with C-Suite Network, and you've got people that are lifting you up and supporting you and giving you the badge of, hey, she's the category of one, he's the category of one, you're in a whole different league. All right. So what today's conversation is about, I want to get you talking and sharing, is it's really about how do we shift our identity, how we view ourselves, and how do we make that transformation? Because if we view ourselves as, and I say this with loving kindness, just a coach or just a consultant, and if we're just saying, hey, I'm a leadership coach or I'm a business productivity consultant, we're going to be in the 4.7 or the 22 million. Okay. But if we make the shift to solving big problems and doing it for people who will refer us and being noted and on the C Suite network, having your podcast, having your TV show, having your best selling book, being part of our community, it's a whole different game. So I'm just curious, jumping in, and when there are things that are bubbling up for you. I'm curious, who do you need to become in order to make this transformation so that literally 25,000 to $100,000 opportunities plus are just easy and easier for you? That it's like that's the standard. We're no longer kind of scrapping for, the 90 days at a couple $1,000s kind of thing, that we're moving into a higher level. And, ultimately, we know for many of us, it's not about the money. It's about our passion. It's about what we do. It's who we are. But guess what? When people pay, they pay attention, right? Or they make investments. Yeah. So jump in and share, who do you think you need to become? And, what's emerging so far in our conversation? Then we're going to get into some frameworks, of course, but just would love to get your point of view and your voice in here. Jump in. Come on, I know there's a lot that you're thinking about.
All right.
Well, I
If
could
no one
jump in.
else will, I'll speak up.
Okay, good.
Go,
Thank you.
Susan.
Everybody
You know-
next. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there are sometimes things that are bubbling that you need to think a little more about. And when doing so, it constantly reminds you, what have I done that has been successful? What have I done that I haven't even thought about because I did it decades ago? There are many of us who, uh, as we have gone through business, we have transformed so many times. We know what we've done, but we seldom shout out about it. So it really does become important for us to share some of those wins, to remind people of things they may never have been involved with us in doing. So when I bring up stories about building stores and having two open on the same day, I have people go, "You did what?" Because that is not who they meet me as at this point when I'm working with them in a more one-to-one situation. And you have to stop to think about what are the pieces you can bring forward without it being a braggadocious, but about an awareness of experience that uh, puts you in the ability to look at something that's currently happening in a way others have never experienced.
Beautiful. Thank you, Susan. Yes. Yes. And, perhaps it was also the store opening, the logistics, the rallying of resources, the CEO level strategic vision of what's possible, and then managing teams and logistics is so much more than sometimes the title that we have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at that position I had in 12 years, I had 8 CEOs. To go
There you
through
go.
that much change of
Yes.
leadership gives you an experience that few others get.
Absolutely. My gosh. And I didn't even know some of those things, Susan. We need to know about this, right? Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. Good. Who else? What's emerging for you? What's the identity shift that you want to go through? Or, even in remembering the tremendous things that you've done that maybe you've undervalued. Yeah. Jump in, please.
I could
Yeah. David,
add a couple
please.
things. So,
Yeah.
not specifically answer that last question, but go back to the previous question of who do you need to become? The way that I look at it is that from the work that I do cyber advisory. Right? We try to stay at the strategic level. The way that we show up is, I call it, we're Sherpas, right? We're Sherpas. We're not here to carry an organization for them to reach the summit, but we understand the terrain. we have enough air cover to have an idea of where we should pivot and why we should pivot because we've lived through those things. That's more of the role that I think we have to turn into when we're in that coaching space or consultative space is you could be part of that large number of other ones out there, or you could truly be a Sherpa and help guide, speak the language in my space. I have to be able to speak the CEO, CFO language, but I also have to speak the cyber professional, the tactician, have to be able to speak those languages. And in today's world, when I do speaking engagements and listen to others speak about the big divide between the cyberspace and what executives are seeing, it's that's the niche. That's the who do you need to become? Well, you need to become a Sherpa,
Yeah.
not to come in and do things for people, because now you're just a staffing agency. Nothing wrong with that. Just that's not what we're here to do. We're here to lead.
Yeah.
Right?
Great. Thank
So
you.
that was my thought on that part.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. And obviously, for all of us to be viewed and move the perception, because I think in building our businesses, we've trained and educated people who know us, like us, and trust us in our communities to view us in a certain way, as a coach, as a consultant, doing certain things. And so perhaps there's part of a re-education process, not only for ourselves, but also for our community. Yeah. Kate, I think you were going to jump in. Carol, Sheila, Brenda, jump in. What are your thoughts?
My initial thought was that you are talking to me with the shift from selling sessions, packages, and times. I have my 90-day package that I can sell all day, and it's a great program, but it limits me because I can only take on so many clients at a certain time. I'm exchanging time for money, which is what I wanted to escape when I started my business. So I do need to shift to thinking bigger picture. I need to be more strategic and more visionary in order to get to that next level and reach more people, ultimately expand my impact and my income.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And, for how many of you're making this shift? And again, like, not to say that anything that we're doing right now is wrong. Please don't abandon today everything that's working for you. Today's topic and, the mindset of what we talk about in our council is how can we optimize what we're already doing to become more of the category of one, which is, I'm so excited, is a trademark program that I have put together, I've created, and we're using that within our council, these frameworks on how to move us into a whole new category and to kind of set ourselves up that we're there, but also people know us as this new type of identity, this new value proposition. So yeah, so please today, don't quit what's currently working, but you could start today on some revision of some new models. And by the way, use our council as esteemed faculty, use our council to get some feedback on what you're doing and where you could go. Yes. And of course, use your clients, gathering your clients in roundtables. We talk about that all the time, doing research with your ideal client. What is it that they're really looking for? Not maybe the structure of it, but what's the end result that they're looking for? Yeah, thank you. Carol, did you want to jump in? Sheila, Brenda, Tricia, anything that you'd like to add? Identity shift. Carol, you have gone through a major transformation in your business. My goodness.
Oh, we just keep on keeping on.
You keep blooming and growing just like your background.
Yes, yes. So one of the things that I wanted to amplify was what Susan was talking about in terms of claiming our agility in troublesome environments, changeable environments. That is so impactful and so important today because when people are looking for very senior folks to move up, they're not looking for people who lead through, quiet waters. When we work in only one silo and, it's been calm until now, we don't position ourselves for that major leap to doing cross enterprise work. and work in the tumult of today. And so every time I work with a client, we try to elucidate those things that show their leadership in difficult times.
And boy, you use so many great words there: agility and being able to pivot and flexibility and wisdom, all these great things. So thank you. Yes. And there are things also, that I always mention this, there are things that we've come on this planet to do. And so that becoming more of who we are in the value that we're providing, it's just an extraordinary journey. And being able to generate the income, the revenue, the results that you're looking for to me, it's like the marriage in heaven, right? For our business. So that's great. Good. Uh, Sheila, jump in. Brenda, jump in. And we're going to move forward too. Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I'd just
Brenda,
like
thank
to
you.
say that I have been spent the last year kind of gathering, learning, assessing my capabilities, and my big news is this week I initiated my company, High Point Performance, and I am in the advisor category. I've been a senior advisor for international energy company consulting, but I've always done it for someone else. So I've taken the step, and now I'm going to be reaching out to my friends and colleagues to help me get established. And I'm going to skip the basic models and jump to
Great.
the advising. So that's where I'm
Excellent.
at, and that's my big news. So thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this group and learn from all of y'all's wonderful experiences. Thanks.
Brenda, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to you. Yes. And also, what I'm noticing is that with the reinvention of what we've been doing, keeping what works and then refining to move into a new identity, a new brand, as Sheila will help us do as well, it's an exciting venture. It's an exciting because for how many of you have you become bored in your business at some point, or bored in your career, even if it was for a moment, bored or frustrated? Okay, I can't be the only one here. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. So reinvention is good. Reinvention is so good, and our clients feel the same way. So you get to be that spark to bring the new energy, the new perspective. What's the value of that? That's tremendous. Tremendous. Sheila, please, we've got to hear from you. You are the reinvention, rebranding queen.
Okay, I'm maneuvering on a cell phone, so give me some grace. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Of course. Yeah.
Um,
Glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm just going to piggyback now on your reinvention strategy and what you said about we can become stale. We can become set in our ways as a coach or a consultant, and maybe we're not growing like we should be. And that, I don't mean like growing with clients, I mean growing personally ourselves as well, because that does show up in the clients that we attract. So if I'm right, I'm all about executive and personal branding. And what I also notice is that as I watch other coaches or consultants and they seem stuck in the past, I just, are there tactics? Is there advice? Is all of that current or not current? So if you're not showing up current and if you're not staying current, right? Like Kathleen, you always push us to, right? Keep evolving, you don't always have to reinvent, but you just have to keep evolving. So, and good isn't rare anymore, especially in the age of AI. So, and I just wrote an article. My last newsletter talks about that, or two newsletters ago. And I talk about being the ICEO, and that means leading your personal brand as a CEO and treating it as a business and being really intentional about it, because that does attract the clientele that you want, right? You can demand more money, and right, you can attract the right clients. So thank you, Kathleen.
You're welcome. Sheila, we cannot wait for your upcoming program about that topic. And your trademark term, ICEO, love it. Your newsletter is fantastic, so much
Yeah.
value. I honestly, I lean into my inbox. How many of you lean into an inbox? I do, waiting for your newsletter. So truly.
Yeah, they're all on LinkedIn, so you can go ahead and
Thank you.
see them
Good.
there.
Thank you. Good. And reposted and elevated on C-Suite Network, of course. Yes, good. Tricia, do you want to jump in before we talk about some specific models?
I love what everybody shared, and I always marvel, Kathleen, at how you come up with new topics every single week, and sometimes every single day, and sometimes several times a day. But I guess because there's so many incredibly valuable things that were shared that I couldn't say any better. I guess what I'll say is reflecting on what we want as our next step or the transformations we want, I think is really important. I was at a very large event recently where there were a lot of things happening. There were a lot of things happening. There were parties, and there were casino, and there was a casino. There were like a lot of things going on, and and shiny objects, lots of shiny objects. And so I think it reminded me of and picking up pieces. We pick up pieces all the time. People who've gone into programs because they're going to be famous or they're going to get, these different things happening. And so it was a really good reminder of, what are the things that really actually drive success, that move things forward, and how do we want to build to be able to deliver on that? And that's really interesting. So I'm mindful to that with your whole theme of transformation. And I already shared some of the things I'm mindful about with that, but also what do we want to avoid?
Yeah.
What do we want to stay away from?
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So you are leading us perfectly into our next subject, because what I'd like as a takeaway is for us to be able to see what's happening in the world with new lenses, to be able to experience the zeitgeist, as is called, what's happening in the world, and be able to transition into opportunity and to see things and be able to immediately say, oh, wow, here's how I can respond to this. Here's an offer that I can create that's so timely and attractive, and that is so irresistible to my ideal clients. And so let me get back to some slides here, because this is really important. And by the way, I want to share just quick. We're in the final stages of the category of one market authority study. And our emerging insights are just incredible. And this is that what's happening now, that you get to see some offers and some headlines that you'll be able to make a shift in, is that in today's economy it's a selection economy. Companies and individuals can select you. And I will tell you, I have not met one CEO or one executive who has gone to the International Coaching Federation site, and I'm an ICF member, okay? Love ICF, but they're not going to look through 100,000 coaches to find their coach, okay? So we've got to have our distinct positioning, be the recognized authority, have a specialization, and be visible in trusted networks like our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council and C-Suite Network. And so selection is absolutely critical, and it's going to the category of one experts. And so a couple stages that you can go through, and this sets the precedent for how we can start thinking about more offers and different ways of doing things. But, I think we've all been through this model of, we've got 4 stages. We've been a capable professional. We're hard for that. We're an emerging authority. Then we move into becoming the distinct expert. And then, of course, the final stage, and there are going to be more stages beyond this, but that you become the category of one. And this is the system that I've created with frameworks and models that we're going to talk about more in our council. But we want to be the top of mind when someone says, oh my goodness, we're having an issue with this. We need to call this person. Okay, wouldn't that be great? So thinking about your current business, where you can start unveiling the opportunities that are all around you. And this is not, again, about abandoning what you've been doing, but let's start to think about new opportunities by what's happening in the world. Okay. So this was literally a headline just this past week from Gallup. Gallup did an employee engagement study. Feel free, check it out on the web. And the stats are astounding, folks. The stats are astounding. You read this on the screen is 1 in 5 workers are lonely employees, 1 in 5 are tired, 1 in 5 are disconnected, 1 in 5 are burned out. Okay. And of course, this global situation is costing US companies 2 trillion plus in lost productivity. Okay. So this is straight from the headline. So I'd love for you to think about for a moment, how can what you do and who you are address this? Going into companies and starting conversations, or with executives, starting the conversation about, tell me about your workforce. Tell me about your important teams. Tell me about your supply chain. Tell me about what's working in your company and what could be improved. Thinking about this. Now, obviously, we wouldn't go into talk to a CEO about, tell me about your 1 in 5 tired employees. We wouldn't do that, of course. But using this data, that this is real and the cost of it is huge. So thinking about what you're doing, is there an angle you could take to use this knowledge, this is straight out of the headline, okay, to be able to create an offer, start a conversation, start a post, become more of who you want to offer, okay? Number 2, this is right from the New York Post yesterday. You can see on the screen, Gen Z employees can't bear the 9 to 5 anymore. So they're using their lunch breaks to take naps and cry in bizarre places throughout New York City. So it's brought the rise of places in New York and, of course, all around the world where employees can go out on a lunch break and sit on a relaxation chair in a comfort room, and they're paying hundreds of dollars for memberships to be part of places where they can put on headphones, put their comfy hat on, their hoodie, and just zone out. Okay. So this is the end result, but what are the symptoms, friends, that you can tackle? What are the symptoms that you can see? And feel free, put it in the chat. There's symptoms of, hey, resignation, the symptoms of boredom, the symptoms of low engagement, not feeling valued in the workplace, companies that are not engaged with their employees, not a strong leadership, right? Lack of teams, lack of connection, lack of all kinds of things. Okay. And feel free, anything emerging, jump in. And then, of course, this just happened as well. Fortune magazine did an article just the other day about Sheryl Sandberg, of course, leading Lean In. She's got a 21-year-old who's an AI expert who's now the head of Lean In. So isn't this interesting? Because they found that their whole mission now is to help and empower women to be able to use and maximize AI in their work. You can see the stats right here. Lean In just did a study. Check it out, because women are getting left behind in the AI journey, okay, in the transformation. So think about, where can what you do, you can add an AI angle to it to be able to beef up, make your offer even hotter by implementing more about AI. Okay. If Sheryl Sandberg sees it, ladies and gentlemen, we can as well. Good. Anything emerging for you on this? So just with this mindset of looking at engagement, looking at AI, looking at what's happening with the economy, the impact to the economy, tariffs, international global situations, it all trickles down and impacts people, humans, and teams and groups and all kinds of company situations. Anything you want to jump in here? I hope you're already thinking a little differently. Yeah, please jump in.
Everything I've attended or been part of in a discussion, in person or online, lately has talked about how is AI being used, not just to, oh boy, isn't it exciting, but the additional factors that people are starting to realize that they maybe jump too fast with some things, that they're maybe using it for the wrong things, that in looking at AI, they got that shiny object kind of thing going, and that instead of really determining the best way to use it for their organization, they looked at it maybe as an individual being replacing other human beings instead of going, wait a minute, if they do these tasks, then the humans have the time to focus with clarity about some of the things that they could be more productive in. And so I
Beautiful.
really see a bounce back from the let's run fast to a let's think about this in a more cohesive way to impact the good of what we move forward with instead of just a quick, fast win. And in
Excellent.
doing that,
Yes.
it really then can, instead of creating that fear of it's going to replace me, it can create that excitement of how do I use it to make things work better, be more productive, and give me time for me.
Excellent. Excellent. And so one of the takeaways and new perspectives that I'm seeing, thank you, Susan, on this, is we don't necessarily have to be an AI expert because we can get underneath what's that fear about? What's that resistance to change? What is that? What's going on with the human being? Those are things that we can definitely incorporate in our offers. How do we help our clients differentiate themselves in this kind of economy? So, what kind of value would that create for the organization if they had a workforce that was more agile, that was more flexible, that was more open to change, right? That didn't need to check out at lunch and be able to escape, the work, right?
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why every time I mention the mission of creating how to be a humanitarian and how to create things where we lock arms together to make things better instead of waiting until it goes to hell in a handbasket, that we stand a better chance of using AI in a productive way that creates a workforce that can be creative where they need to be creative.
Excellent. And you beat me to it because we cannot wait for your research study on that as well, Susan. Thank you. Thank you. Good. So put in the chat, kind of what's emerging for you? What are you thinking about? What's maybe a word or phrase that's saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about this," or there's a little shift here, because I'm going to just go through very quickly some new ideas on things that you can offer that are between 25K and 100K that really will shift so many things in your business. And knowing what you know now, ladies and gentlemen, between what's happening in the economy, what's happening with coaches and consultants, we can't unsee it, right? And I know this firsthand because I've had the great opportunity and privilege through a lot of hard work and great connections and timing to work with some of the best corporations, small, medium, and large companies. And there's some names on here that you recognize. And what I realize is who my ideal client, in having diversity in your business, having a portfolio of solutions that perhaps you work with organizations, you also have a VIP offer that your individuals or groups or teams, having a variety of things with some themes is really important. And I love this this graphic, because these are the boards that I would not be working with. Is, hey, what happens if we don't change it all and something magical happens? Okay. That's not my ideal client, nor I know it's not yours either. So honing in on who do we need to focus in on? What's the profile of that ideal client that you're looking for, individuals as well as companies? Because that's how we unlock the category of one system. So I'm going to just go through very quickly. And by the way, you will get a copy of this whole playbook. So I'm going to give each of you and all of you watching the recording, if you registered for this, you'll get the playbook on all of these details. So no need to be concerned about capturing all this or writing it down. But if you're thinking about, hey, what can I do to generate more opportunities? So these are some of the areas that are the hottest now that will give you the most incredible revenue bump for your business. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So things like board retreats, What are you doing to take what you're doing and create a board retreat? Boards of directors certainly need new branding. They need new executive presence. They need new strategies. They need new agility. They need to focus on the who of their company. So many different ways to position what you do as a value for a board retreat. Okay. How about team offsites? Every company on the planet, they're having team offsites. Okay. We know this. They're bringing their people to exotic and not so exotic airport locations, right? So they're looking for speakers. They're looking for presenters. They're looking for people who will educate their employees. And then, of course, what I love about this is I always offer, after a speaking engagement, what's the follow-up action? And oh, by the way, negotiated at the very beginning is we're going to lead your team from this retreat, this offsite, into a 90-day, 6-month program, all built into the contract. Okay. So they can keep the continuity going. They can keep the learning going. So if you haven't thought about team offsites, this is phenomenal. Big part of my business. Executive advisory opportunities. This is another thing that is so fantastic. And when I started creating this for myself, I had to go through a real transition and a transformation to think that, hey, who do I need to become a CEO advisor? But you can do this. And to becoming a person you're on retainer as an advisor. You're on call. If this is a business model you like, great. These are just options for you to think about, but you're building high trust relationships. You have access to decision makers. And this is a new way of you being in service to your ideal clients. Maybe it's right for you, maybe it's not, but this is a very, very common 5 to 25K a month opportunity. Group programs. How many of you have group programs in corporations? This is unbelievable. This is one of the most rewarding work that you will ever do. I had 2 group programs within corporations that were manufacturers, literally within 100 miles of my home. I didn't want to travel at the time. And so literally being able to serve clients, it's fantastic because it's a one-to-many model that's gorgeous. You get to train and educate and then building in one-on-one coaching with the individuals. This is a phenomenal business opportunity. This also helps you even out your revenue. So if you're not doing group programs, highly recommend this as well. So I'm curious, thinking about this, where you doing what you're doing with your point of view, your expertise, how could you serve more employees in an organization? So instead of doing the one-to-one all the time, you can do a one-to-many, 1 to 10, 1 to 20. And then just a couple more that I think you're going to like. Masterminds. How many of you have masterminds in what you're offering to your clients? Yes, thank you. Yes, C-Suite Network for sure. Yeah. Peer groups, facilitated conversations, high-level insight exchange. You're not teaching, but you're convening and you're bringing people together. These are all powerful opportunities. Hey, will you launch any of these this afternoon? I hope so. But this is a process that you can start moving your offer into having conversations with executives and your ideal clients on, hey, would you be interested in this? I'm thinking about doing a beta launch on this. Would you be interested in being a founding member of this? Here's what we're going to create. Your founding members can help you guide the conversation and guide the group. Okay. And then finally, VIP intensives. How many of you are doing VIP intensives? Oh my gosh, this is a fantastic business model where you have your ideal clients work with you for like a 1 to 2 day deep dive in whatever they're looking for, whatever your expertise is. And this is an incredible opportunity. I've done many of these. I've done fly-ins where clients make the investment, 10 to 25K or more, for a 1 to 2 day where you're working with them very intensely. It's a one-on-one. It's a real privilege to do these. So high opportunities. Okay, so as we complete our time, I'm just curious in what I presented in all of these opportunities, whether it's offsites, retreats, team, executive advisory, groups, VIP one-on-ones. Are there some opportunities, and where are they that maybe you've overlooked? Yeah, feel free, raise your hand, put it in the chat. Some opportunity. I hope there's some opportunities that you've overlooked, right? And again, no one's saying we have to like do anything this exact moment, but the intention for today is for us to think bigger and to expand our view, our periphery of what's possible for us. Good. Any comments, questions before we continue? I like to do the mind-blowing graphic. I don't have it here today, but once a mind has been expanded, it can never shrink back to its original size, right? Yeah. Okay. So anything that you'd like to share about what we've discussed, and we'll complete here in just a moment. Great. So, our mission in our council is to promote you, showcase you, and highlight you with a global platform as being in the category of one. And so that's why our council, that's our mission and our purpose. That's what we're doing. And so I highly would love to talk with each of you. If you have questions, comments, you'd like to come learn about our council and how you can become an esteemed faculty partner, schedule a Calendly time with me. I'd love to talk with you about that because we are opening up a few spaces to become esteemed faculty. And we'd love to talk with you, set up the criteria with you and the whole conversation. So as we complete, my gosh, so much, right? Woo! What's your biggest takeaway from our time together? What are your thoughts? Jump in. Biggest takeaway. A mind stretch to new ideas can never go back to the original state.
My biggest takeaway is that I need to be thinking and dreaming bigger. Just
Great.
in general, with all of these concepts, I need to think beyond what's right in front of me and open up my mind to what's possible.
Excellent, Kate. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, we're being called. This is a rally cry, ladies and gentlemen, a rally cry to, hey, the world is calling you forward. It's now time to step into something bigger for yourself, doing it in a way that works for you, right? Yeah. We don't want to work 24/7, but in a way that gives you more leverage and exposure on all of the great gifts you have to bring. So yeah, thank you. Who else? Biggest takeaway from our time together?
I think for me, it's when you're looking at this many opportunities, it kind of becomes a research in itself to say to people what types of things are most appealing to them at this point, not just what sounds interesting to me. I might think, ooh, I want to do this. But when I ask them about what do they have time for, what are they looking for, I will get a better sense of what I need to create than me creating it and then finding out that's not what they're looking for.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, and thank you for that, Susan, because the form of how you package it can be so different. That's really that's important, but it's not the most important. Is what's the value proposition? What are the expensive problems? How can you serve them? But these are some really incredible ideas that most coaches are not utilizing. Most consultants aren't because they're in the transactional world, right?
Yeah, and I think that research doesn't always have to be so formal. I'm meeting this afternoon is meeting with a couple of people I haven't seen in months, finding out what they're doing, what's sounding interesting to them. Where might we joint venture together so it's not just me doing something and inviting people, but inviting people that they know that I don't know. How do we up level our connections to build a bigger base?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Who else? Carol, you are unmuted. You've got something to say here as your takeaway.
I just am overwhelmed with your productivity in terms of identifying new opportunities. And I also appreciate your ability to evaluate each one to talk about, what might be the financial return.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. And can you see with just a couple of these, you're at 6+ figures, a year. That this, a model of a couple retreats, a couple group programs, a couple masterminds, and very, very soon you could be at a $500,000 business easily. And then we just replicate it. Yeah, that's our category of one success system. That's how we do it. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else before we complete? Brenda, thank you. You put in the chat. Love what you have put together. Thinking about your advisory. Yep, on performance. Right, exactly. Great. Anyone else before we complete?
Just a huge thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Good.
Thank you so
I'm very
much.
honored to
Great.
be in this conversation. So thank you very much.
You're
Just
welcome.
being a sponge, trying to learn as much as I possibly can, and you all are amazing.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
keep doing
Well,
it.
last words linger. So there we go. Thank you. Okay, great. Cannot wait to see you soon. Thank you. Let's go get it, ladies and gentlemen. It is our time now. It's time to get busy and get focused, and our council will support you. Lots of love to each of you, and many
Thank
thanks.
you.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.